This is Alex the Sudokus, and we're going to try out this streaming business, and let's see how it goes. So we're going to do some easy Sudokus, and I'm just going to do it as normal. So let's see, I've got a 2 there, and let's see, got a 2 down here. Don't know where the last 2 goes. I've got a 3 here, 3 there. Oh no, that was wrong. 3, 3, 3. Not much more I can do about 3. So what about 4s? I've got 4 up here, 4 over there, 4, 4, 4. So 4 has to be up here and there. So that's sort of 4's done. 5 is over there and there. And let's see, that's a 6. That's a 6. Oh no, I've already got a 6 there. So I think that's sort of 6s, 7s. That's a 7. Oh, gotta stop doing that. 7s, 7, 7, 7. 8, 8. I'm so impatient. 8. No, what am I doing wrong? That's an 8. And that's an 8. So 9. That's a 9. That's a 9. Where else are the 9s? There's got to be a 9 there. So let's move back onto, that's a 1, that's a 1, that's a 1. What's this then? This is a 3, which means that's a 3. And that's a 3. So I've got 1 here, which means that's a 1. This is also a 1. So we have a 9 here. 9 there, 9 there, 9 there. Therefore, these are 2s. That's got to be a 1 and 2 and 9 and 1. So that's today's easy Sudokus done. Let's try today's medium then, which I'm going to do pencil markings, and I'm going to use what's called Snyder notations. So we have a 1 up here because of these 3 1s. So these 2 1s locks a pair of 1s down there, and basically with Snyder notations, I don't do any more pencil markings unless I have only 2 candidates for number or less inside cage. Well, if I've got less, then I can actually confirm the number and place it. So that's a 2. I've got a pair of 3s here because of those 3s. So that forms what's called a matching pair. Matching pairs are good because they basically mean no other numbers can go in there, because one of the cells has to be a 1 and the other has to be a 3. So with that in mind, I can't actually... Oh, yes, I can. So with that, 7s are locked over here because the 7s ruled out these 3 cells, but they also can't go in these 2 cells. So with that, I formed what's called a pointed pair of numbers. So considering the 7 has to go in this column within this cage, there's no way the same column can contain a 7 anymore. So they point in that direction. As long as they're lined up in either a row or a column formation, they can no longer contain the same number. That's how I can deduce that there's a pair of 7s up there. Let's go back to the 3s now. I can't place any more 3s, so I'm going to do the 4s. I have a 4 over here because of these 2 4s. And whilst I'm here, I noticed that the 6 also rules out these 2 cells. So the 6 lives in one of these 3 cells. And whilst normally I wouldn't pencil mark them in this instance, it locks the 4, 6, and 7 as a triple in these 3 cells. So I've got 3 numbers and I've got 3 cells containing the 3 numbers. That means no other numbers can go in there now because they neatly fall within those 3 cells. That implies that I've got another 2 numbers left that can't go in those 3 cells, so they must make a matching pair. Well, since the 8 can't go in this cell has to be an 8 because the 8 can't go in any of those 3 cells. They have to contain 4, 6, or 7 and this cell's sees an 8, then there has to be an 8 then. And the final cell has to be a 2 then, which is the only number left within the cage. So that was quite useful actually. And now looking at the 2, well, I've got a 2 here and a 2 there. That locks another pair of 2s. And again, they're lined up in the column, which forms a matching pair. So I've got a 2 down here somewhere. But since I've got 3 different positions where the 2 can go, and the Snyder notations, I'm not going to place them unless I know I know 2 other numbers in the same 3 cells basically. So, but whilst I'm here, I also noticed that I'm left with 3 possible numbers in this column, and 5 is meant to be one of them, but it can't be in this cell because it sees that cell. So the 5s therefore have to be locked down here. So this cell on this column I've got a 5, 7 pair, matching pair. So no other numbers on this column can go in these 2 cells. Therefore, this has to be a 9, which is the only number left. So now, if we look at this cage, we've only got 3 cells left. So they form a triple, so a pair of them are 9s, a pair of them are 8s, and the final number is a 2, which can go in any other remaining cells. So that forms a nice, neat triple. So with the triple, on the column, I've got a pair left, and they have to be 4s and 6s because they can't be 2, 8, or 9. And 4s and 8s are the only numbers left on this column, but I've got 4 within this cage, so this can't be a 4, therefore it has to be a 6, and that has to be the 4. And with that, I can erase the pencil marking 4 over there, leaving me with a 6 and 7. And once again, I have a triple locked within the cage, so I might as well pencil mark them in. They are 5s and 8s. So even though I don't know where the 8 is, I've got 3 possible candidates. Since it's forming a triple, I'm going to place them as well. So that's all the cells on the left hand side pencil marked in. I'm just going to quickly blow my nose. Blowing my nose is a bit of a regular occurrence, unfortunately, if anyone has seen my YouTube videos. Okay, so we've done a lot over here, so let's restart our candidates, our scanning, and I'm going to start from 1 and scan all the way up to 9 to see if I can do any more pencil markings. Now I like to do count ups from 1 to 9s, and that's because then I can see any patterns forming within the same number. I don't know if there'll be opportunities to demonstrate what kind of patterns, but since I don't often pencil mark in triples, by the way, these 2 4s locks a pair of 4s over there. Sometimes you get you get pointer pairs, but you also can get pointer triples. So technically this is a pointer triple of the 2 because that's the only places that the 2 can go. But they point in the direction as such that they're pointless because I've already got all the 2s in the remaining cages, so it doesn't actually unlock anything for us. But sometimes a pointer triple is useful, and whilst I don't pencil mark them in, if I actually see them by scanning the numbers, then I can still use them to make deductions basically. So this 4 and that 4 locks a pair of 4s there, and I think that's all I can do with the 4s. So 5s over here because of these 2 5s, ruling out the 2 rows. Can't see any other 5s, so let's move on to 6s. I have a pair of 6s there because of these 2 6s, ruling out the rows, and this one rules out the column. Now let's see, we have something interesting going on here on this row. So I was looking at the 6s, and this is why I think it's useful to scan a number at a time. I noticed that this 6 rules out these 2 cells, forcing the 6s to be in one of these 3 cells. Well, they share a commonality with this cage. By the way, cage is what I called 9 cells in a grid. So some people call it boxes, I call it cages for ease of differentiation, because some boxes, some people call the individual cells a box. So that's why I go for cages, basically, because I think that's quite clear. Cages have to have fences in them. Anyway, sixes can go in one of these free cells. Let's pencil mark them in, actually. So the commonality between these two cages is that the 6 are only pencil marked in, or only available on rows 1 and 3. And with that in mind, on the final cage, the 6 has to be in row 2, because row 2 has to contain a 6 somewhere, but I know that it can't be in these two cages. So this is another example of why scanning by a number at a time is useful, because I can easily spot that. Whereas some people like to scan cage at a time and look for notations, it's easy to miss that 6. It basically means the 6 has to be in this row somewhere, but I've got 6 down there as well, so that erases another 6. So I think some people like to pencil mark in all 3 candidates in those instances, but for me, as a habit, I don't do that, because it can confuse me and make me think they're less numbers than they really are. So yeah, anyway, there's a pair of 6s up there. So there's another pair of 6s here, because these two 6s rule out the 2 rows, and that 6 rules out a column. So that's basically, I think, all the 6s more or less pencil marked in. No, except for these ones. So let's look at 7s now then. 7s are locked in these 2 cells because of these 2 7s looking into this cage, but also within this cage I've got 7, 7 and 7 there, so that actually confirms a 7 in this cage. So what I've just done is, when I place that 7, I've just erased a 4. Oops. And this is the benefit of Snyder notations, why it's quite fast. Because when you only pencil mark in 2 candidates and you just erase one, you know there's only 1 candidate left for that number. So I think Snyder notation kind of benefits a lot from any chain reactions. Sometimes it feels like dominoes, where when you erase one number, if there's a big chain going on, like there's a big chain going on over here with all these numbers, I think, and they can potentially collapse basically as soon as you work out one number. So for instance, if I work out that that's an 8, oh no, hold on, if that's a 2, for instance, that would have to be a 9 and that would have to be an 8. So this is why I really like Snyder notations. But anyway, so after placing that 4, I've now formed a pair of 4s down here, because these 2 columns are taken and that row is taken. So yeah, one of the things I like to do as well for speed is whenever I place a number, I'll have a look around that number quickly to see if there are any new pencil markings or confirmations that I can make. If so, I will commit to them. If not, I'll leave them alone. And yeah, so I've done the 4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rewind back to the 7, because I got the 4 from the 7. So the 7s, these 2 7s locks a 7 up here in these 2 cells. So you might have remembered earlier with the 6s, I've got 7s now locked in rows 1 and 3, just like the 6s earlier. So that means there has to be a 7 on this row somewhere. So they have to be here, because this 7 takes out that column. So that 7's done. Actually, can I do any more pencil markings? No, I can't. So let's look at 8s now then. So I have a pair of 8s there because of this 8 and that 8. And oh, I want to sneeze, but I can't. So that's always annoying. I think that's all I can do with the 8s. So let's move on to 9s. 9s, let's see. Nope, I can't place any 9s. Sorry about that, just had to blow my nose. So I've done a round of notations from 1 to 9, and I've done a lot on the left hand side of the puzzle, and the right hand side is still a little bit barren at the moment. But I think there's quite a few things we can do now. one of the things I like to start doing is look at what I call weak areas. Weak areas are basically any rows, columns, or cages that only has 3 or less cells remaining. So cells remaining includes any blank cells, but also cells with pencil markings. So for example, this row only has 3 cells left. I haven't actually confirmed the number there, so that 2 and 8 is still remaining. Technically, these are weak areas as well, but they are already pairs and triples, and therefore I'm not actually going to get much out of them, basically. So if I can solve them, I would have solved them already. So there's not much point in looking at any triples or pairs that I've already confirmed. By the way, matching triples or pairs. Sometimes I just call them pairs and triples. Anyway, this row does have a triple going on here. So let's see what it is. So what I'm doing is I'm looking for the numbers that are left in this row, which is 1, 2, and 8. I can quickly deduce that 2 and 8 are 2 of the numbers because they're pencil marked in, and if they're not, then I should have cleaned up the pencil marking. I should have erased them already. And sometimes I will forget to erase pencil markings and leave stuff behind, but in this instance, quite clearly not the case. And so I just had to look for the third number, which happened to be the 1. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to look on this. Look at these cells, these 3 cells, and see if they interact. Pardon me. I do sneeze a lot in the mornings, so apologies. I'm going to see if I can see any of the numbers. For example, in this cell, I can see the 1 and I can see the 2. And since I'm looking for 1, 2, and 8, that has to be an 8 now because it can't be a 1 and it can't be a 2. So I just confirmed another 8. So first of all, I'm going to erase the 8s over in the cells that you can see. So now that I've erased the 8, in this instance, within the cage, I know I've got a triple, so that means all the pencil markings are completed. And I'm basically just stripping them down to a single candidate to solve them. So I know this has to be a 2 now because I already know that it can't be a 5 or an 8 because otherwise I would have had pencil marks for them as well. But to confirm, I've got a 5 and an 8 here, so this has to be a 2. Up here, I just erased an 8, and remember what we said about, in this case, I've only got Snyder notations, so when I erase the 8, I've only got a single 8 left, so therefore there has to be an 8 as well. And by placing the 8, I've just erased a 7, so there's only a single 7 left, so I can place the 7. So this 7 erases that 7 as well. But another thing to do is, for speed, I already know this is a 6-7 pair, so I can technically just put in the 6 because it has to be either a 7 or a 6, so I can resolve those as well. So let's quickly see if the 6 does anything, and the 6 locks the 6 up here because I've got a 6 ruling out these 2 cells as well. So actually, this 6 on its own already resolves that 6. But over there, I can't actually do anything with these 2 6s because the interaction is horizontal at the moment. And I know there's nothing vertically because all the numbers are already locked down within their own cages. So to rewind back, I've got this 7, and this 7 doesn't unlock anything horizontally or vertically. But before I move on, I just realized I failed to erase that 2 as well when I pencil marked them in. So it is a good habit to erase any pencil markings that you don't need anymore. So, but it's easy to forget as well. Okay, so anything else I can do? Well, in this case, I've only got 2 numbers left, and they are 3s and 9s. So 3s and 9s have to go in there, but I've already got 9 looking into this cell, so actually I can confirm the 3 and the 9. So let's see what the 3 and the 9 does. This 3 looks over here, along with that 3, forcing a pair of 3s there, so I've got 3, 5 pair. This 9 and that 9 locks a 9 up here, but I've also got a 9 on this column as well, so this can't be a 9. Therefore, the 9 goes here, erasing a 4, and a 4 goes there. So, let's see, what does a 9, does a 9 do anything? Well, the 9 locks a pair of 9s over there. Technically, I should do the 4 first, so let's do the 4s first. It locks a pair of 4s there, because of these two 4s ruling out the row, and that 4 there ruling these two cells out. And that 4 and this 4 locks the 4s over here. Now, this forms a pointed pair of 4s. I didn't look at a pointed pair of 4s earlier in here because I've already got the two 4s in the remaining cages. But here, I've only got one 4 confirmed in these two cages. And I've got pencil markings in here. But I've got a pointed pair of 4s. And remember, pointed pair of 4s, as on the row, no more 4s can exist on this row except for within this cage. Therefore, I can erase this 4 and confirm the 4 over here, basically. So I know this 4 on its own doesn't do anything else for the 4s anymore. And so I can kind of rewind back. I did a pencil marking for the 4s here. So the last number I touched was the 4 up here. So in terms of numbers, I think I've pretty much done everything because I've pencil marked in the 9s. What about the 3s over here? Can I do anything with the 3? No. So I have a 6 over here. That 6 erases that 6 down there and confirms a 6. So that's another 6 done. What about the 8? Well, the 8s are locked in here. I think actually these aren't from my kind of from my resolutions early on, but they kind of naturally came about when I filled in the grid, basically. So I probably wouldn't normally go down this route, but I should probably look at this cage instead because I know that all the numbers are pencil marked in except for the 2s. So they form a 2, 7, 6 triple here because actually I've got a 3 and 5 pair already, leaving only 3 cells left in that cage. So I don't know if that made any sense, but hopefully the more you play, the more you will understand what's going on. Okay, so where do we go next? Well, we've only got a single number left on this row, and it has to be a 1. So let's place it then. And with that 1, I can lock another pair of 1s down here. And again, this forms the property of the 1s are locked in the bottom 2 rows in 2 different cages. Even though they're not adjacent to each other, they're still on the same kind of horizontal formation. So I've got 1s locked in rows 8 and 9 in 2 separate cages. Therefore, there has to be a 1 in this cage on row 7. And I've got a 1 seeing into one of the 2 cells. So that confirms the 1 to be there. And the other number has to be 8 then. So this 8 cleans out a pencil marking 8 over here, forcing the 8 to live in this cell. Does a 1 do anything else? The 1 also forces a 1 over there. So that's all we can do with that kind of pair of 1s basically. But also now on that column, I've only got 5 remaining. So let's place the 5. That 5 has the effect of unlocking this 5-8 pair. So let's place the 8 and 5. So all the 5s are complete on this kind of horizontal cages, but the 8 can unlock another pair of 8s over there. And that gives me an opportunity to talk about matching pairs. So we mentioned earlier with matching pairs that no other numbers can go in the 2 cells. So since we got the 1 and 3 from the beginning, well, we've actually created a matching pair over here with the 4s and 8s because I know that these are Snyder notations. I've got 2 4s and I've got 2 8s in the same 2 cells. And given the rule is that no other numbers can go in the same 2 cells, the 9 can't go in there anymore. The 9's in these 2 cells that overlap with the 4-8 pair. So I can erase that. And of course, if I erase a pencil marking, I've basically just confirmed where the number is on the Snyder notations because I've only got 2 pencil markings. So the 9 now goes there, and that erases a 6. So I can place the 6 now. So this 6 also erases a pencil marking 6 up there, leaving me with only one possible 6 up here. So this 6 completes the set. I've got all the 6s on the entire grid now, on the entire puzzle. So that's good. So I'm going to rewind back to, I was looking at this 6 earlier, rewind back to the 9. I was looking at the 9 earlier. Well, what can the 9 do? What else can the 9 do? Well, it rules out this cell, forcing the 9 to be in this cell within this cage. So now the 9 looks at these two cells, therefore the 9s have to be down here. In fact, if we look at this column, there are only two numbers left, and they are 9s and 3s. So let's pencil mark in the 3s as well. Now, that means the 3s can't go in these two cells anymore, because I've just created a 3-9 pair within this cage. So I can pencil mark these in. These are 2s and 5s. I can't deduce what they are yet, so let's pencil mark them in. But in this cage, I've just done two things. One is with the 5s, well, I've got 5s locked in rows 7 and 8 in two different cages. So again, the 5s has to be in row number 9 in the remaining cage, and they happen to be down in these two cells because the 5 is ruled out from that column. The 3s have the same property. These two cages both have the 3s in rows 8 and 9, so the 3s have to be up here in columns 7 and 8. And now I notice that the 3s are in columns 7 and 8 in two different cages vertically. So there has to be a 3 in column 9, and there's only one cell left. So I can unlock the 3 now. To be fair, there are other ways of working out that 3, because if we look at this row, we've got 4 and 8 there. That means the only remaining number couldn't go into those two cells. So that's another way I could have resolved the 3. So what else can I do? Well, in this case, I've only got a single number left, and it's a 3. In this case, I've only got a single number left, and it's a 2. So this 2 rules out a 2 up there. So I've got 2-7 pair forming, so I can just place the 7 and the 2. Now these 2s locks a pair of 2s in these two cells. So I can't actually tell where they are. Well, actually, no, this can't be a 2 because it has to be it's part of a 4-5 matching pair. So the 2 has to be there. And that just erased a 3. So I can place the 3 now, and that just erased a 7. So I can place a 7, and that just erased a 1. So I can place a 1. So this is kind of like not necessarily Snyder notation at its strongest, but it certainly demonstrates how quick a cascade can collapse basically with Snyder notations. And we've done a lot of numbers, and we haven't cleaned up all the pencil markings. For instance, the 3 also looks up here with the 5 and 3. I think there was something else. The 5 looks down at the 4 and 5, so they are resolved, and that 4 resolves the 4 and the 8. So all these cages are resolved. This one also looks over at the 3 and 1 over here, so I can resolve them. And now the 3 looks at the 3 and 9, so I can resolve them. And that 9 looks at the 2 and 9, so I can resolve them. And what else can I do? Not with the 9s, but something else gotta give. Oh yeah, the 2 looks into the 2s and 5s, so that's resolvable. And that 5 looks into the 7 and 5, and they're resolvable. So that solves today's medium New York Times Sudoku. Let's move on to hard. So I'm going to speed up a little bit with hard, because I've kind of gone through the basic methodologies. So now I'm going to kind of use a bit of assumptions that you understand a bit about notations now. And this is really for the audience who like to solve the hard Sudokus. So let's see. Quickly look at the ones. I've only got a single 1, so it's a weak number. In fact, can I do anything interesting in... No, because there's a quadruple there. I just thought I'll quickly look at it and see if any numbers have already been resolved. I noticed the 9 C's into these two cells, but I suppose these are 6s because of that 6. 9, 5, and 7. No, can't do anything else, but I can lock a pair of 7s there. But actually, I'm going to go back to my normal notations. So let's see. 2s are there. But actually, have I got a naked single somewhere on this column, I wonder, because 1 is weak. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. So this is 4 and 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. So that's 8 and 9. I don't think I have a negative single here, so let's just look at the 2's then. So 2's, not much going on the 2's. I've got 3 locked down here because of these 2 3's and that 3 over there. So now that's also a 3 because of these 2 3's. So now I can lock a pair of 3's there and a pair of 3's up there because of these 3's and that 3. So what about 4's? 4 is confirmed over here because of these 2 4's. Not much else I can do with the 4's, so let's move on to 5's. I have a pair of 5's here because of these 2 5's. I wish I have like what do you call it, eye tracking, so you can see where I'm looking at on the grid. Like right now I'm looking away from the screen because I just need to blow my nose again. Apologies. I don't think there's anything I can do with the 5's actually. So let's move on to 6's. 6's. Got a pair of 6's over here because of that 6 and that 6. So that locks another pair of 6's there because of the pointer 6, that 6 and that 6 there. So anything else? Got another pointer pair of 6's there, but I think that's sort of 6's. So 7's. Right. So 7 can't go in this cell. So 7's are in these 3 cells, but it also locked in the same 2 columns. So 7's have to be up here. That makes a pair of 7's. Anything else? Can't see them. So got 8 also sharing these 3 cells as well, but nothing else does. So anyway, I've got a pair of 8's over here. Can't see any more 8's. So let's move on to 9's. I've got a pair of 9's there because of that 9 forming a pointed triple. So forcing the 9's down there because of... oh, actually, these 2 are 9's as well. So actually, I can resolve the 9 and the 7 because they form a pointed pair of 9's. So that resolved the 9 and the 7. So that locks a 7 over here. And does that 7 do anything else for us? Not really, no. Okay, so I've now got a pair of 1's and 8's in these 2 cells. So these 2 cells are 6's and 1's, but 1 can't go in there because I've already locked them in here. So that unlocks the 1, 6 and 3 down there and the 6 up here. And with the 6 up there, I can finally pencil mark in the remaining 6's. So does a 3 do anything for us? Yes, it erases a 3 over there, unlocking a 3. This 6 doesn't do anything else. So now I've got this 7, 8 and 4 triple over here. So 4's have to be in these cells because of that 4. So I've got 4, 5 pair. Therefore, this has to be a 2 because this can't be a 2. Otherwise, I would pencil mark them in. So this is 2 and 9. And this 9 unlocks a pair of 9's up here. And nothing else over there. So what about over here? Well, I might as well... Oh, no, hold on. That's not 9. 9 is locked over here because I've got 9 down there. So, and a 9 on this column. So, yep, that's all I can do with the 9's for now. So anything else with the 4's? Nope, doesn't look like it. Okay, so let's pencil mark in the 1's as well. Can't do anything else with the 1's. Okay, so what were these again? These were 7, 8 and 4. So I don't think... Oh yes, I can pencil mark in 7's here in this cage thanks to the 4 and 5. So that actually locks a pair of 7's up there, unlocking the 8. So that unlocks the 1 and 8 over there, which unlocks a pair of 1's. Although actually I can confirm the 1. So this one and that one locks the 1 over there. Anything else? So within this cage I'm left with 7, 9 and 5. And I can't resolve them just yet. So let's leave them alone for now. I also have a kind of 4, 7 and 5 in this column as well. That's interesting, but not useful just yet. So what about this triple? This is, say, 5, 5, 8 and 9. I've got 9 over there, but I haven't got 5 and 8. So let's leave that for now. Let's go back to this cage for a second. This has to be 1 and 8. No, it can't be an 8. It has to be a 1. Because basically I've got 4, 7 pair there. So this had to be a pair as well. And it's a 1, 8 pair. But I've got an 8 there already. So that resolves the 8 and 1 over here. And this 1 locks a 1 over here as well, resolving the 6 and the 9. And the 1 also locks over there. So what else can I do? The 9s are now locked in these two cells because of these two 9s. So that pushes out a 6, which that 6 would have erased anyway. So that leaves me an 8 and a 5 in here because of that 8. And that 8 also locks an 8 up here and a 5 up there. So hopefully that's useful. It locks a pair of 5s over there. So not immediately useful, but it also locks an 8 over there because of that 8 and that 8. So finally, the final 8 is in here because of the 2 8s taking the columns and the 2 8s taking the rows. So there must be some sort of resolution going on now. So let's see. I still can't resolve the 4, 4, 5 and 7. What about the 7, 5, 7 and 9? No, I can't. So that's a bit irritating. So I got a lot of triples to look at now. This is 1, 2, 1, 2 and 1, 2 and 4. Can't resolve them. I feel I need to look at maybe the 4s and the 5s or something. I'm not too sure. So 5s left there. There's like a crucial number that will unlock this puzzle, I feel, but I'm not quite sure which number it is. I also have a pair of 1s there. I'm just going to scan the numbers quickly now. So the 2s are locked down here, over there. Oh, actually, that unlocks the 2 because the 2s have to be in columns 8 and 9 in these two cages now. So therefore, that unlocks the 2. And that 2 unlocks the 7 and 6 over here. So that 6 unlocks the 6, 5 and 2, removing that 6. That 7 locks the 7 in these two cells, which is a bit annoying. But there must be more resolution. That 5 unlocks the 4 and 5. So is that all the 5s? Not quite. But 4's now locked in here, which locks the 4. Oh no, I've already got the 4 there. So so the only number remaining is no, I was going to say 3, but 1, 7 and 9. Well, 9 has to go in one of these two cells, so therefore that's a 1, and that 1 resolves the 1 and 4 up there, and that 4 resolves the 4 over here, and there's only a single 4 left, so 4 and 7 are here. That locks a 7 there, 7 and 7 and 9 and 9 and 9, and what's this? This is a 2, this is a 5, 5 and 2. And that's today's New York Times hard Sudoku. So that makes today's streaming. I don't think anyone's watched it, but I'm going to leave this as a video, so hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please subscribe, follow my channel. I also have daily videos on YouTube as well. So hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. This is for the YouTube crowd now, so, and that's my outro. Okay, bye.